that Claude. That's a even like old recommendation from last year, that even on the most basic level of like how you might just make sure before you deploy something, like ask your three, sort of spirit guides, what do they have to say. I think now it's arguably getting more specialized. Like personally for me, and like again, everybody has their own take. Like I like that Gemini is closer to what I use Google for, which is searching. So I tend to do my deep research with Gemini. I like that it's already linked up to all my sort of like Gmail and Google Drive. So like there's a lot of sort of native comfort level in terms of how I apply it. I don't love it as a chat app. Like I find it still a little bit janky for my generic like chatting. And then I was really using ChatGPT a lot, and I don't want to insert myself politically, but I have kind of been more coming at Claude lately. ChatGPT for a while was like this sort of catch-all Swiss Army knife, that it just kind of did everything for everything, and it was just so awesome at everything that in some ways you just defaulted that if I don't have patience for this, I might as well use ChatGPT. I think that competitive race has now made it more personal taste. And then there's Claude, which again always had this code chapter, which again, for anybody that's already a bit of like a coder in Headspace, this already speaks to you. This is where this interface connects with the terminal inside your computer, and it starts to use your computing power to build stuff, and you start interacting with things like GitHub and sort of creating like all these kinds of like actual deployed apps and software. Whereas like the kind of degree to which that you can build inside of like the chat window, and I think these things are increasingly blurry, but it's more like front end development. Like you're almost like creating like fake websites that sort of work enough. Like there's these things called artifacts inside of Claude that are like their own version of like a very malleable file that allows you to sort of see a quick mock-up of the thing you're talking about, whether it's a website or a presentation. But so then they added this thing called Cowork, which before OpenClaw came out was like the big noisy announcement of the year. And I think I mentioned this in a newsletter. Like this is like somewhere between. This is like chat-like. It's very like, for someone like me, it's not intimidating, like instead of like looking at the matrix go by. But I can build here, like my here I'm trying to get my daughter. I mean, I'm doing all the work, but I'm trying to get her to at least speak this language. Like this is like our Harry Potter, like Hogwarts experience app that she and I just like vibe coded by just talking to Claude Cowork, and we just had a conversation about what kind of an app do we want to build. Here's the sorting ceremony. If anybody's a big Harry Potter fan, you know that this is where your story starts. Anyway, I'm just saying that's how easy it is to work inside of Cowork, and it isn't that sort of mind-numbing kind of watching code go by. Anyway, that's what the Claude app looks like. This is also $20 a month for like the basic kind of pro plan for people that are really maxing out, that they have Claude Max, which is like $200 a month. And that's increasingly becoming kind of the tier for like hardcore use. Like Google Ultra, the equivalent is $250 a month. The equivalent of like the max plan on they're all about these tiers. $20 for like pretty good usage, $200 for hardcore usage if you're a company or something. Anyway, bottom line is this is a really good tool, Claude, to the extent that clearly the Pentagon is using it, and they used it as part of their efforts to grab Nicolas Maduro, and I think there was already deals, like there were sort of contracts between these sort of government entities and these big companies. Something happened along the way that Anthropic, the company that owns Claude, didn't like the way it was being applied, and were nervous about these sort of categories that to them were very off limits, like this idea of autonomous weapons, like the idea that like this technology could literally start creating a world where weapons are just shooting themselves off. And maybe that's just pure like they don't like war, or they're just saying like, we actually know this technology really well. We're not sure it's safe enough for that, which was the sentiment underlying that piece. They were sort of nervous about the way it was very like generically being applied to mass surveillance. So they inserted themselves, and they created a point of friction with the Secretary of War, Defense, and to the extent that as of last week, they hit some impasse. And to the extent that Donald Trump turned it into his messaging that they declared Claude a supply chain risk, because they're really just trying to go after their business, and then saying like, if you don't want to work with us, not only are we we're gonna fudge you if you follow the stock market term, like we're gonna sort of make the market think that you're a bad product. The funny thing was, and if you've been following Claude versus OpenAI since like Super Bowl, like OpenAI before all this war stuff was going on, they were starting to announce an ad tier. to their work, or this notion that like there was going to be advertising inside of ChatGPT, which was their own version of saying like, hey, we got to make money too. We're not just pure like investment. And Claude at the time used that as a moment to say like, well, we'll never do that. And they even made like Super Bowl ads to this. So it became this sort of like mudslinging match between OpenAI and Claude in the sort of the public space to just gain customers, frankly. And then in some ways it worked. Like a lot of people started really saying like, oh, I don't want my ChatGPT to be an advertising target. Those are my private thoughts. Like, why would you use that as data for commercials? So that was the first sort of moment that they were kind of like throwing mud at each other. Then when Claude got into this friction with the Pentagon, OpenAI was very quick to saying like, we're totally cool. We care about America's fighters. We're here to support our efforts. So they very much align themselves with the Pentagon. I'm kind of oversimplifying these things because there's a lot of nuance on how they're all trying to go back and forth with each other. The bottom line is in that exchange, at first you're like, oh my God, Claude's in so much trouble. They're about to lose this like $200 million contract with the government. They shot to #1 in the App Store. There's a whole movement of people that are literally websites that are like, here's how you can exit ChatGPT. Here are the ways to dump your memory so that you can bring that into Claude and not even notice a glitch that as you continue to use your favorite AI. So I'm just saying like, it's interesting how like we remain the story. We're the customers that are what's going on here. and there's a lot of other layers of that. There was like a leaked memo where it's clear that as a CEO of a company shouldn't have been so candid in a way that he was talking about Donald Trump. There's a lot of drama, but I'm just saying it's hard not to notice at the end of the day, this is also a really powerful tool for what we're doing. So to me, what's funny is that underneath it all, as they're getting dissed by the Pentagon, most people are like, oh, it's good enough to be used by the Pentagon. That must mean it's a really good tool. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's a very interesting game of what do people take away from it. But I'm curious if you guys followed it differently and maybe that you disagree with anything I said. Like Colton or Jose, did you guys follow the story at all? Or yeah. But it's interesting. Like, I mean, and by the way, this is in spite of being dumped by the Department of War, they're using Claude in Iran right now. Like that's part of how they're accelerating these incredible like strikes with their incredible precision to track down their targets and stuff. So this is very, very powerful tech, and it is no longer Black Mirror speculation in terms of how it's being applied to everything, right? Anybody else have an opinion on it, or does that feel weird that what we make pretty pictures with is also used to drop bombs on people? Like what do you?
Well, so now they're going the part of with OpenAI, right?
It sounds like the Claude is still in discussions with it. Like again, it's just like nonsense. But it does show that they used, whether they intentionally did this for customers or really meant it, they showed some type of moral spine. Like at some point they said there's something that we're not okay with. And while we're going into midterm elections, like AI has become a very political football that in some ways, some chunk of the Democratic Party is kind of betting against AI as a political issue. They're kind of saying we are the ones that we don't like all these guys being in bed with Trump or whatever. So as a Democratic Party, they were kind of already saying like we're not into this. But by him suddenly aligning himself against Trump, at least nominally, there's a bunch of liberal people that suddenly found the product that they're okay with. So I'm just saying that it's interesting how this ties into politics, war, finances. It's everything right now. But yeah, I think the latest is that there's a lot of nuance in how this becomes a negotiation tactic. And obviously the government plays a hard hand in terms of like they'll do whatever they want, but they also clearly want the tech. They clearly value it as a tool. Anyway, it's hard not to notice it as being part of the story this week. But there's some other cool stuff, like Luma dropped some agentic thing that I haven't figured out yet. But did anybody see that? They're like the Luma Labs agents tool. We'll probably learn about it next week. That was like yesterday. Well, look, I don't want to chew up too much time. I just want to at least acknowledge it and make space in case anybody did have questions about it. I do think it's a big story to follow what's going on with Claude. I want us to use today, again, for anybody that showed up late, please, each one of you, bring up something that you're working on, that you're having trouble with. Let's try to spend like 10, 15 minutes on each thing. Let's troubleshoot it. And also, I want to do a little bit on post-production today, just like the basics. Again, you guys know how to edit and you know how to, it's more like which tools can you at least start to grow general familiarity with. But we learned a little bit about spaces from FreePick. And I think maybe it'd be awesome to just jump right into this workshop vibes. Like Charlie, do you want to present kind of what you were learning? Do you want to plug right in? Or?
Yeah.
Cool. how does this work? If
He can just plug his computer in.
does it affect the share?
Well, let's have him join the meeting, and then it'll share his screen.
Okay, can you send him the link?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can even just share from where you're sitting. Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
do attendance real quick.
Okay, we got go for it. Yeah.
Okay, Stephen Chen, gotcha. Okay, Charlie, yes. Okay. Very good. Now I can see this. Okay, Jen. Nope. Jack Huang. Nope. Roxy. Nope. Lynn. Gotcha. Idea. No. Colton. There you are. Iman. Nope. Steven. Got you. Anish. Yes. Jose. And then got you. Ife. Lucas. No. Samuel. No Samuel. Chanmi. Gotcha. Aiden. Nope. And Lewis. I guess. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So yeah, that is it.
Cool. Did you get the invite to the meeting?
Sending it right now.
Okay, great. So we'll just present from there. That's okay. So just while
Well, no, he can still come up to the board. We're just going to share his screen.
yeah, however you want to do it. I don't know if you want to like move your cursor around or yeah,
need
you might
to
want to like present, click around and stuff.
Oh yeah, I guess that works.
Yeah, that's actually a good way for people to share today, so they don't have to plug in and we can stay recorded.
Great.
Did you share?
Sending you an
He
email.
should have sent you a thing.
Okay, check your email.
Also, you guys saw that thing from Holly that they want to present your work. Is anybody else doing that? Yeah, I think it's a good look. I mean, I don't know how you guys interact with opportunities, but that seems like a good one. The other thing is I sent you guys that Switch X thing on WhatsApp. Anybody here we're using actors in their films? Is anybody here for their films this semester they want to learn or are intending to use actors in their in what you're doing for this? Yeah. Okay, so is anybody else really keen on working with that? So SwitchX is a really good hybrid production tool that would, if you guys saw the tutorial on it. So I'm trying to get us some ideas for that. All right, I don't know, maybe you want to mute.
Yeah,
from
you
there,
should
yeah.
mute.
Anyway, I'm going to try to get us freebies for that. That's a very useful hybrid production, like relighting, like changing sets. Like you can even like just grab my face inside my turtleneck thing, and it'll redo the rest of my outfit. It's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. So for new friends, today we're workshopping. We're going to try to just go over like examples that people are having trouble with. But a great way to start is that I think Charlie, you kind of had a bit of a breakthrough with spaces.
Yeah.
Do you know how to screen share or are you able?
So it says I'm sharing my screen now. Can you see?
Well, I don't see it
Yeah.
up here. Oh
I
wait,
can see it on my end.
it's weird.
You have to open up the meeting.
I have to open up the meeting? What? I mean, I'm in the meeting, aren't I? It says Charles Gunn presenting. Am I just in a different window or something?
Bring the call back here. Click right there. Bring the call back here.
Oh, that's
And
weird.
then full screen this.
Okay, cool.
Like-
Fantastic. You're up.
Nice. Okay. So this was for Booper. I just tried to see how much I could do in batches.
I think you just turned everything off.
I just turned the lighting off.
In what way do you spaces?
So free pick spaces.
Oh no, I don't have.
Do you want me to get us in there first and then or do you want to sort of show free pick spaces?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So free pick spaces is their node option. So for anybody that's like starting to look at the horizon line, anybody heard of Comfy UI?
There we go.
The Comfy UI is like the really pro kind of like interface for like using your tools, which is like fully like modular. You can build whatever you want. It like what you'll see. It's basically like a series of like spaghetti noodles and nodes, like what are these rectangles. This is kind of each tool like free pick, Kriya, even I think Higgsfield has it. They're all creating this interface to give you an option to think this way, and we'll see how Charlie's used it. But the upside of it is that you've probably already started to experience. I'm hopping from this website to over here. I got to save my file over here, and then I got to move. It's all a bit of file management, which is still going to be true if there's anything off of FreePick. But while you are possibly viewing all the tools inside of FreePick, this gives you a node-based interface to be able to see that. We'll see how Charlie and you just jumped right in, like you had no experience with it, right?
No experience with it.
So how do you navigate to it? How do you find? So it's up there. It shows up as a tool on the left.
So it's just on the left here. So and then you just jump into it, and then I'll go directly to the one that I used. But I actually went into templates first and just started with one. I think it was you go filmmaking. So
yeah, so they create a lot of templates because look, people use this to make commercials. They use this to make all kinds of social media content. And then they've even organized these like pre-existing workflows, basically. They're almost saying like, hey, do you just want to like make a little like product ad? Here's a quick template for that. But there is a subcategory. You see the one that he selected that says filmmaking. Those are a little bit more relevant to you guys. I do think like this is an example of why having access to FreePick to the extent that you have time on your hands, like I would just go through each of these templates one by one and just try to understand them. Like, oh, how is it leveraging image generation to video generation, adding a text prompt over here? What is the difference between a reference input versus an image input? You just start to see it organically, and you don't have to like have that like website to website thing. This is all happening in front of you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like once you kind of get into your own space, you'll see here. This was my space for the project. So I started just with the character. I developed this stuff in Midjourney and some reference images, and you can see it kind of changed. But this is where I started. And then what I did is like, okay, I had this, and then I wanted to create a prompt to keep the art direction consistent. So I could use that moving forward, and then I could combine that with the image of the character. So I could use that in everything.
So how did you create that art direction sort of work?
I used this assistant node where I took all these images, and you see this blue thing. This is just a group,
right?
And then so it's this whole group is connected to this assistant node.
Do you see how each node kind of has these little like spaghetti noodle exits? And like that usually even tells you where, and even just by pulling on it, even just like automatically pops up what likely options are coming next. So you pull on the noodle, and in this case, it takes you, it's like, here's my mood board, a little bit like that Midjourney mindset of creating a mood board, right?
Totally, yeah.
And then that takes you to this next one, which is like, it's like an assistant node.
Yeah, so there, if you go, you just right click, it's this one, it's the assistant node.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, well, it's chat or Gemini. And then I said, yeah, look at the prompt, look at the aesthetics and the art direction across all these images.
And did it label itself art direction, or did you call it that?
I called it that.
So you see how it's just LLM. Like, so you're now saying, hey, take these 6 pictures, and you're a really smart multimodal LLM that can look at these and draw some conclusions. And he then turned that into his art direction node. So that's like where he's really starting to take control over the tool. And it is reading it the way he's telling it to, but then he's labeling it in his workflow. This is art direction. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then you see, like, I wasn't sure if it was going to use the image or the text. I ended up using the text because I used other images. Because I wanted to use the character image, but I think you can also use an image reference as well.
Which is, again, remember we talked a little bit about that last week, is that when we talk about style consistency, you can either use an image to speak the language of like, it looks like this aesthetically, or you can come up with like a text prompt that the LLM kind of generated for you, right?
And then, yeah, exactly. And I think it's probably more consistent, just an image. But so then I took that. So I have my character, and then I have my art direction for the world. And then I generated, I'm trying to figure out a way to do this within spaces as well, but I generated just like a shot list of the story. And so I connected the shot list, connected the aesthetic and the character. And then I think, what did I say? Yeah, create storyboards from the shot list. Let's cross that now. Using character 1 as the main character and then art direction.
And how does it know just to do one at a time?
So when you connect a list like this, so this was previously connected. I just connected like this.
Oh, okay.
When you have a list connected, this list node, and then you feed it into an image generator or a video generator, it'll automatically create a list on the other side.
And actually I can see that it almost has that, it looks like a stack, right?
Oh, this one. Yeah, exactly.
So in some ways it looks like, yeah, let me zoom back out of it. You can see that it's actually multiple things.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then is this just the way that it then,
Yeah.
it does both things?
It does both. So yeah, when you generate this, maybe I can just rerun it. And you can run unlimited because, so I did See Dream 4.5. I was looking for models that I could just like run and not think about.
Yeah.
So,
And worth noting, like, look, it is using credits. Like this isn't just some like free corner of the internet. So right now it's just images. There's probably nothing to worry about.
yeah.
It looks like you topped up because your free pick account is pretty low.
Yeah.
But once you start applying this to video, yeah, it's gonna grind through credits.
And
Just
this
be
one,
mindful.
it depends. Oh, I might have to refresh here. And then once you get like, you generate a lot of stuff within spaces, you'll see it kind of gets a little wonky. But I'll just show you just because it's images, it can just run from this node. Or if you wanted to do something upstream, you could just like run the whole thing again.
So you see how like it's almost like one of those like games you played as a kid where it's like some kind of like marble fantasy or something, where like you're putting together a lot of different connectors, and at some point you hit go, and then it's like, all right, we're starting over here, we're taking a text prompt, we're turning that into an image, that image turns into a video, you know, and a lot of these different choices we're making. Is this interesting? Do people have questions about this so far? What do you think, man?
If you change something upstream, how much how many credits does it cost?
It depends on how you set it up. So actually this whole workflow I set up for it to be that I didn't use any credits, even for video, because you can use Clean 2.5 for video. And I was just like, okay, let's just.
So again, there's an argument of like being really careful about the moment you're just hitting go over and over. I mean, look, you can start to imagine this is where like a marketing agency like says like, all right, I've got like my can of soda and I got my sort of direction that I want like a person holding it, you know, taking a drink, but I need a young person from Yemen. I need a old person from Canada. I got my 12 different character profiles that I've been told I need to make advertising for. I can put that in a text prompt. I can go ahead and create those images, and then I'm going to create multiple shots for that commercial. And then I'm going to go ahead and have like my 5 different like core commercial shots, like close up of a can, close up of a face, wide shot of us really having a good time drinking this energy drink. 1, 2, 3. I can just blast that to 10 different ethnicities, ages, types of people. And that's how I'm running a company today. And yes, that will chew up a bunch of credits the moment you get to video. So that's the power of it. And that's the way to not go through all your money. Colton, I see you sort of discovering this for the first time. Is this interesting? Like,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I liked it. I mean, that's my biggest thing with free pick is just the credits. I feel like
but again, I'm showing you how to at least be judicious with your use of them. And then, again, while this is an important learning, and I'm excited for people to take it upon themselves to, you know, you're topping yourself up. So it's a choice you're making. Again, you have Flow for free, and we will spend time learning there. But Flow doesn't currently have this node-based system.
Yeah.
They have another system that they're intending you to sort of think you can extend your shots and you can organize. But again, this is relevant to other spaces of AI filmmaking. And again, I'm going to show you guys a snapshot of Weavy before we go, so you can see that there's like this is still, I actually think Spaces is increasingly really well designed for all the things that Free Pick is giving you. But a tool like Weavy, like it's the only thing they're doing. And Weavy, for example, just got bought by Figma. So it's like a pretty like big signal that like that's such a standard productivity tool. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I will say, so like it's the same thing for the video kind of workflow here. Like I set it up, I used Clean 2.5 and I wasn't using any credits. And then I would just make from the shot list, I do video prompts. I have all the video prompts.
You went straight into video.
Yeah.
And then you're still referencing your aesthetic style. Is that what this is? Is that your art direction?
That one, actually, I think that's just, this is the images.
Okay.
So I did the images here, and then I had, so now I'm done with the art direction, actually.
So what are the 2 inputs here? Because you have the shot list.
The shot list.
And then what is that redundant, the shot list and the images?
So it's the images, and then, sorry, these are the video prompts.
Oh, those are video prompts. Got it.
Exactly,
Great.
yeah, which I didn't label, but then those go into the video generator, and then you create another list, and then you get all your.
It's awesome. And then basically you're just editing. So if you
yeah.
do this, if you this is all like where your pre-production is production now. Like if you organize this in a way that makes sense to you,
Yeah.
then you're just spending time editing. That you've again, go back to that context engineering idea that we talked about earlier in the semester. You've created your ultimate context here. You have your art direction, you have your shot list that you've spent some time creating a script around. And then by the end of this, like you even have within that writing process have created your video direction of like, you know, what kind of camera moves and stuff. And then from here, this just cranks out all your footage. It's like you sent your Verite film crew into the field and they came back with a bunch of footage. Now you can spend all your time editing.
Yeah.
And that's still, I mean, and there are AI editors, but I still think humans are more interesting at editing. But, you know, we'll see how long that lasts.
Say one more thing. So that was for Hooper, and that was like a whole bunch of different scenarios. So you could like batch generate a lot of those. I tried it again for this other idea that I'm working on, and it wasn't great, honestly. Like, this is what I'm doing for the midterm.
Great.
And I tried to do more, you know, photorealistic,
Mhm.
and creating like more of a narrative, and it was a lot tougher, honestly.
That's interesting. We can spend some time with that. Maybe see where you're getting glitched.
Yeah, because I was trying to be more linear.
So now we're shifting into like talking about our film. So what's the problem you're having here?
Well, so it's just I was like, okay, I just wanted to talk about the story. And so I had Gemini create all the shots after I would just like use whisper flow and just like talk into it and tell me the story.
Yeah, great.
And then I created the keyframes, and then I was going to do the same workflow of, you know, doing I have my keyframes here. These are the different shots that I wanted in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, some of them are kind of wonky, so I ran it a few times.
What image model is it? Is that animated pro?
That's Nano. Yeah.
And again, sometimes if you're unhappy with the images, I do the exact same thing with Seadream.
Yeah.
Seadream 5 is great.
Yeah.
So I'm saying sometimes you're just getting annoyed at the image model, and you can take the exact same flow and just switch which image model you're in.
So it was just I mean, it did a pretty good job. It was just the output that I was getting. I was doing this same thing and then converting it to video, and then you know, the prompts weren't specific enough to match up with what I was wanting to achieve.
Yeah. So then you hit a ceiling on
Yeah.
then you may just want to really manually prompt individual shots,
Yeah.
and still maybe
Yeah.
stay in a subsetting here. We're almost like maybe, because again, you can zoom out, like just show them, this is an infinite canvas.
Yeah.
Like this can be as organized as your process wants to be, right? So this could be like the jam it out, crank out a bunch of shots, but maybe you get to a point that you really, so without having to reset, go to another website, you could make another corner of this over here that you're starting to do shot by shot, and it's still in
Yeah.
context.
Yeah.
So again, you're just organizing your process here. It's fully like, you know, non-linear in terms of what it's your own organization, right? Anybody else have questions about spaces or this process? I would recommend playing with Seadream first. If you're unhappy with image outputs, just switch the model first before you change the hard work you put into there, and just see if that gives you more interesting.
Okay.
Maybe revisit your shot descriptions in like your LLM.
Yeah.
And maybe just look at like, is there something samey about these? Is there something like, and maybe just manually change it and go back. Because you built such a great system, I would sort of first twist some screws.
Yeah.
And if that's still frustrating you, then yeah, maybe this gets you 75% of your film, and then you just focus on the performances of these 5 shots that are really meaningful to
Right.
it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I mean, you're well beyond even how I use this. So, but which I think, because you're using it and you're applying it to a film. I haven't had a film to make this way. And I think as you discover, what do I need of this? Can you just show them that again, how when you pull on a node, it automatically, so it's this simple, even though this looks like, wow, I don't know how to do all that.
Yeah.
Like when you pull on a node,
It's hard to see, but this like little spaghetti noodle thing.
like when you let go of it or you click on it,
So you can let go on it.
like it immediately starts to
Yeah.
auto-populate. What are you going to do next?
Yeah.
So even like you don't have to have it figured out. You just kind of start exploring it. The nice thing is these templates here. I'm gonna shift back if you don't mind stopping sharing. But just to kind of give a brief tour of how I would encourage anybody that's interested in this. Obviously, use your classmates here, and Charlie obviously has a lot of wisdom. But like you know, as we let me see where I'm at. Yeah. You know, just to remember how to get here. Again, I think it does show up organically here, but again, if you ever get lost, just go to like the phone pad, spaces right here, and then take a look at the templates. And I think you'll also start to see a trend in here, like this guy, who's a classic like YouTube influencer that, yeah, I gotta scream for you to click on my thumbnail. Here I am, it worked. But he, for example, is like a big AI kind of educator. So what you're starting to see is there's people even using this setting inside of FreePick to kind of say, hey, here's a workflow I created. And like, that's frankly how they're making a little bit of money. But like, this is his like, let's see, what is this for? This is the, how do you design video thumbnails? He's literally saying, how do you make an angry face thumbnail? But he's basically created the workflow that all you really have to do is insert these two items here, right? So he's kind of designed it that it's that simple for you to use his workflow. You just have to then hit use template, and then it frees it up as something that you can interact with. So that's why I think there's a lot here to just start experimenting with if you have the free time. While we're here, I just want to, for anybody that's like really into this, I'm almost talking to you, Charlie, as you're exploring this. So this is Weavy, and they, for better or for worse, are just all in on nodes. And you can see a little bit about the different. You see how it's logged in with Figma because they're now all partnered up. This is a very familiar setting. What's interesting about them, they also have this whole tutorial library up here. So if anybody is interested in it, again, without spending too much time today, you can literally just for free just start going in here and you can watch these tutorial videos. And they also have, these are the tutorial videos, and then they have their workflow library where similarly they have pre-made templates that, again, the sort of self-taught, autodidact here is just open up a template and just stare at and be like, what did it do? What does it do? Just literally pick apart these sort of spaghetti farms and think about how each of them is doing stuff. What's interesting is when you, like, if you were to go into this from scratch, this is what it looks like as an interface. This is their toolbox. And you can see that this is more sophisticated, Charlie. These are almost like Photoshop level tools, right? So that, and a lot of people are really jacked on the compositor tool, where basically within a Nano Banana Pro, like you're able to sort of grab, person, backdrop, airplane, and within an interface, you're starting to throw those 3 or 4 elements together, and then it generates it as a clean image. So compositor is very popular. You can see crop, painter. These are all these different, like video concatenator is like my favorite word that I think I understand what it is. It's basically another way to sort of like combine videos into sort of an output, but play with it. But as you start to get, you see there's like a whole matte section. Here's these additional kind of text-based expressions of LLM tools. So the same way that you like automatically created an art direction tool, like they have like a video describer tool where you would connect a video to it and it would analyze that video and give you that video description prompt. So it's doing that work for you in an automatic way. Same thing with image describer. Run any LLM is almost like a way that it just optimizes what are you trying to do with whatever LLM it just auto. It's like an auto setting. But then as you start to go down here, I'm sorry?
Share your screen to the
Oh, can you guys see this? Oh,
the people in the video.
oh, sorry. My bad.
There we go.
Cool. Thank you. There's these helper tools, but as you can see that they still have also LoRa's, and this is where this starts to get closer to a comfy UI, even like Fal.ai setup, where like it has ways to sort of import LoRa's and really start to get more fine-tuned even beyond that FreePick universe of tools. And then as you get further into this, you start to find familiar image models. Here's all the image models that you would bring in as the same way FreePick give you access to this. Here's all the video models. Here's like vector graphic tools, edit images tools. So it's an even more sophisticated tool. So I'm just saying, like, if you're starting to like it and you're just like a real graphics person, you really know how to spend time in After Effects and Photoshop, like Weavy is like your next level. And then I don't have a whole comfy UI presentation, but just as a reminder why that's like the eventual destination. Although some people are really just committing to Weavy. Like I know some people, like there's some people that this is when they walk into like, like I think it's like the Shark Vacuum Company, like because their whole marketing department wants to make cool commercials. Like they will do some version of what you did, and inside of Weavy, Let me see, is it just like a button? One of the outputs here after you've created a workflow is to turn it into an app, right? So think about that really confusing spaghetti noodle factory. Then there's just like this beautiful little interface that does all the work that you just assigned the back end to. And it's just got a few like insert image here, do this. And then that's what they sell their client. So then that's like that's the gig as an AI filmmaker working for brands now, is you're not just coming in and doing the work. You will do that, but your higher value offering to them is that's your leave behind. Your leave behind is now that marketing agency has an app that you built for them, and then you're there to be like customer service and keep making money off of it. So, but anyway, this is the way that they've continued to grow. The Comfy UI kind of universe is, again, just to sort of get scared at spaghetti noodles. This is, and this is a whole subcategory. Like every AI community, there's always like the Comfy UI subgroup, because this is fully like where people are grabbing up things off GitHub, grabbing things off FAL, just like grabbing modular solutions to the way that they want to fine tune their process to what they want to do. So again, we're still like adapting to what FreePick has created and customized it quite a bit. If you look at what Charlie created for himself, like this is the infinite universe. And again, as you then fully apply this, some of the stuff that we haven't paid attention to this semester is like the way that like a WAN 2.2 video generation model, or LTX Lightrix 2.3 or whatever that just came out yesterday. Part of the way they sell themselves is that you can then download the whole thing. So they'll call it an open weight model, that it's like a 24 gig download, and then that now lives on your computer locally. And I don't have to go up and down to the internet to generate anything. My computer's doing all the work. And yeah, if you want to make a horror movie with lots of blood and violence, you don't have to ask anybody's permission, and you can go down your own sort of NSFW road on what else happens there. So that is sort of the full optimization of what I think Spaces is giving you a scratch surface at. Cool. All right, so before we start getting into everybody else's, I just wanted to acknowledge just a couple just simple things that we want to, as we get into post-production. Sorry, Leon, go ahead. Yeah.
Not necessarily. If we're using FreePick Spaces for collaboration and people are sharing those, doesn't mean everyone has to be using the same level of plan?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I would bump into it and see what happens. I can, if that's something we want to workshop today, we can dig around. I'm not actually sure. I haven't done, I know that that's one of the upsides of FreePick, is they do have a collaborative teams capability. I just haven't done it as much, but we can explore it together if you're having trouble. So I don't want to dwell here because some of this stuff is so obvious. If you want sound effects in your movies, sometimes you're prompting for them. Sometimes something like Kling or VO is just giving it to you, and life is good. If you are someone that likes to build your own sound design, if we didn't briefly cover this last time, that's one of the upsides of 11 Labs, is they have a sound effects generator. They also even have some version of a sound effects library. So you can just go through all of this stuff here. But let's say it's really important that you have a chimpanzee laughing in the background. I've made that a bunch of times. You can skip watching me do that. Jingle bells, New Year's Eve. There he is. There's my chimpanzee. Okay, so you can just generate these just based on text prompts. It's that simple. You can obsess over it, go back to your LLM and help with it if it's for sale. You just literally just do it over and over. Like the credits are not much. So I'm saying if you need sound effects, use this. Here I needed to get people counting down. Let's see if this ended up working.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Whoa, I don't even know how to.
1, 2, 1.
It's really weird. I actually think we're gonna look back on this time and find nostalgia. Like someday, it'll all work so well, and we'll remember when it was super weird, and it'll be like, oh, I remember when it had 6 fingers and good old days. Anyway, it's weird. Get the results you want. Just do it over and over. It's not that big a use of credits. And then while anybody may still have that 11 Labs account, if anybody had trouble with that initial code, again, we got second wave of codes for people that are getting glitches. 11 Labs does have their own music tool. Okay, so if you want to create a score, if you want to create a hip hop song and become big and famous, all of this is possible for you. I actually think the music, this is a general snapshot of the music space. I can update this because now we need Lyria in here, but Suno and Udio are really the main tools and 11 Labs, they've added that. I think one of the things that 11 Labs for like 2 seconds was special on is that they were a fully licensed library, and they led with that. So a lot of people were noticing that Suno and Udio were getting sued by all the major record labels. So for a minute there, 11 Labs sort of positioned themselves as like, we're the clean and ethical model. If anybody's following the news, you'll know that Suno and Udio are now in business with the people that are suing them because they realized how valuable the technology is. So I kind of just go with, while I'm not exploiting and making millions of dollars out of this stuff, and I just want to learn, Suno, I think, is probably the best one. I mean, we can spend a little bit of time playing with that. But, and some people are real pros in this. So I'm not pretending that I've like cracked all the nuance to it, but I'm just kind of showing you the tool. The free version is great. If anybody just is on the edge of like, do I really need to spend more money in this class? Just to get a snapshot of it, you'll get a decent chunk of generations. These are just some of my amazing tracks. Before we listen to my incredible music career, I mean, it just as just a sideshow, this is probably the most established part of like the generative AI space is music, in terms of how professionalized it's getting. Like, is it Charlie Muth? Am I saying his name right? M-U-T-H. Like he sang at the Super Bowl. How do you say it? Huth. Sorry, I'm old and I don't know anything. But he just signed on as like a key advisor to one of these big companies called Moises. This is very much mainstream. This is not some big radical thing. If anything, Timbaland has like an artist that I don't think that person really exists right next to him. I think he just made a picture of a fake artist. This is like a headline. These are all linked if you want to read more about it. But this is like a established music producer who just sees the opportunity. Like music has always been at the cutting edge of technology. We take it for granted that there are these synthesizer things that we just hit orchestra sounds because I'm hitting a button. Like that's not dissimilar from the power of generative AI filmmaking in terms of how much is at your fingertips. So I'm just giving you a sense of the space. I mean, some of the other big headlines, before there was Zania Monet, there was this band Velvet Sundown. Actually, let's listen to a little bit of music. If you guys haven't listened to this stuff, it's kind of fun. Give me a second. This was a group that they built up a big following, and they became like I'll show you their how many people still are fans, and then I think they did consciously do it as an experiment to sort of see, could they not could they get away with it, but like what did it mean? 76285. How would people react when they found out that it's not real? And you can decide for yourself if it's any good. But let's see, Velvet Sundown. Let's give them a listen. Here we go. Dust on the Wind. And the lyrics are so stupid.
The drums roll slow. Tell me, brother, where do we go? Raise your hand, don't look away. Sing out loud, make them pay. March for peace, not for pride. Let that flag turn with the tide.
It's like the lyrics are so, smoke will clear, truth won't bend. I don't even know what that means. But the 4 million listens, they're doing okay than most people that are working really hard. The other big success story is this woman, Zania Monet. You can see a little bit about her here. She signed a $3 million deal because her music did really well. And you can even see that she's a real person. This is not her. Actually, let's see. You'll see there's good articles about it. And it's its own version of like, and she gets a lot of hate. A lot of people are upset with her because there's like musicians that are like, hey, but that's her. And she's like on CBS Sunday Morning News talking about how she writes the lyrics, and to her that's a craft, and she's working really hard with the tools to make music, and she's very proud of what she's building, and that's its own point of friction among other musicians. I don't know what it means to become a Zanya Monet fan. Like I don't get to go to a concert to see her perform, but maybe that's like a new thing. Like maybe going to a concert is like a drag show, and like it's like watching people perform, or maybe like fans get up there and sort of like perform because I'm just saying, like, allow yourself to wonder. A lot of us go to drag shows. They're super fun watching people perform and lip sync. I'm just saying, like, that's where this is challenging, because it besides the industry, what does it mean to appreciate this stuff? And I think performance is interesting.
He didn't walk me down no stairs, didn't warn me about them boys who wouldn't care, didn't tell me what a real man sounds like, so I fell for the ones that lied just right. He never pulled my chair or checked my friends, never showed me what to lose or what to defend. So I chased love with an open wound, looking for something I was never introduced to. Mama did her best, but she can't teach.
I think it sounds great.
What it feels.
I mean, I think it doesn't sound bad, and a lot of people are into it. And then there is this sort of like sub movement of like church music. People really love this stuff in church for some reason. Like it's almost like the quickest adopted like place of success. Again, I can't say to have been in those rooms and I know what everybody talked about, but I mean, it is a genre like this. Like, I think this is one of them. There's a few like country stars. They're like going to #1 on the Billboard charts.
Been beat down, but I don't stay low. Got mud on my jeans, still ready to go. Every scar's a story that I survived. I've been through hell, but I'm still alive. They said slow down, boy, been loud too long. You can hate my style, you can roll your...
I'll go for a run to this. I mean, it's fine. Anyway, I'm just showing it to you that, hey, this is the space. It's kind of fun to bop around it and learn about it. But again, just zoom out whether you like the music or not. This is an established industry. It has been through waves of disruption before. Napster, most notably. We can draw parallels and learn from what happened then. What did the lawyers do? What did the record labels do? What did the rights holders do? These are cycles to not find perfect analogies in, but to find sometimes lessons. But I also think, like, what did the consumers do? Like a bunch of people started downloading free music and said, screw you, Metallica. If you guys get the reference, do you guys know who Metallica is? You guys remember that band? Like if you followed the story back then, like they were one of these bands that were like, don't download our music. You're screwing us over, fans. And the fans were like, I don't care. I got a bunch of free music. It was this weird moment that like the cool band was somehow at odds with their cool fans. So it's more like, where does the consumer land in all this? And it's interesting to me, mainly just to see where ears are going, right? So anyway, do what you wish with that. But the point is you can make your own pop music. Some people, like, this is like their new thing. Like they're like, I'm just going to make my own music. I don't need to like buy music, because they get really good at knowing what they like. So inside of Suno, it is as easy as just typing a prompt and getting something. I'll show you some examples of my amazing work. We did an event for CapCut where they wanted us to do like a New Year's themed kind of thing at the end of last year. So I kept on going back to like trying to get like a Frank Sinatra kind of like old like Christmas song, but I didn't. The lyrics were so on the nose that we're in LA. There's no snow. Like I don't know what to do with these lyrics. So I just gave it the prompt that the lyrics should just be like gibberish, just like stupid, like just like make no sense. So we came up with this. Wait, this instrumental, hang on. Wait, this might be instrumental. Sorry, give me a second.
Shiny socks on a slippery floor, ding dong whispers through the door. Jingle fizzle, wham bam snap, do the wiggle with a feathered cap. Bing bang bop and a shooby doo, holiday nonsense.
Right. I'm just showing you, like, you can have that kind of fun. I actually think gibberish is like interesting. Like, what does a machine think gibberish is? I don't know. So this is on the sillier end of the spectrum. We did a like a Frankenstein YA rom-com movie, me and a friend. I want to play my incredible female vocalist here. It's taking a second to load. Anyway, you can have a lot of fun with this. Again, as you're using this, you see that there's an instrumental button. If you just want a good score, just hit the instrumental and that'll keep the voices out of it. You can also add your own lyrics. If you want to be like Zania Monet and become a big pop star, to own your IP, one of the steps is writing your own lyrics. So here, you can insert lyrics that you've spent a lot of time writing or having ChatGPT write for you, or you can have it self-generate lyrics. So again, these are part of the options inside of here. You can use your LLM to describe, hey, I'm going for something like this. What's my prompt for Suno? That's like the fastest track, or you can spend some time making stuff. Hang on, maybe I should just go to my library. These are all my gibberish holiday songs. Where's my cool YA song? I wanted to play my emotional Celine Dion song. Anyway, that's music. I think that's a fun thing to add towards the end. Look, that might be something you add at the beginning of your process as you start to think about your movie. Maybe that informs your generations. And then the last thing that's kind of relevant to post-production is upscaling. Okay, so you could, if somebody really wants to build their toolkit as they leave this class, like, you will mostly be expected to know Topaz. Topaz is inside of Kriya. So if anybody opted to use Kriya instead of FreePick, which is a very comparable aggregator, which does a lot of the same things, they have their own node-based things. They also have a few things that are kind of interesting. You see they have their a node editor here. When you go to their enhancer tool, where is it? Sorry. I haven't used this in a little while. I just know that they have Topaz.
As well.
Well, they have Magnific.
They also, I have first with Topaz on the.
Okay, I don't know why I couldn't find that
Yeah,
last
they
night.
added it relatively recently.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it on here. Where did you find it?
Um,
So I go here to Video Upscaler, and I only get Magnific as an option.
oh, interesting. This was in Spaces actually.
Maybe they're rolling it out. Anyway, Topaz is industry standard. There's a lot to obsess over, but it is like details of your process. I would just say in general, if you're generating at 720p to save your credits, which is probably not a bad idea, or just to move faster, because generating at 1080p starts to slow you down. That video upscale thing is just like a good final pass. And just as a headspace, you can see that I think it's not coming up as an option here for some reason. There are two types of upscaling. There's creative upscaling and precision upscaling. You can see that at least within this tool, maybe the Topaz one that you're referencing, it's there. Precision is just more pixels, it's just sharper, right? So it's like if there's this image of me, it's just going to be extra sharp with this image of me. But imagine that like this image of me doesn't really see my pores. It doesn't see the details of my beard. And I want to be able to zoom in because I think if this is going to be on a big screen. That's where this idea of creative upscaling is available to you. So as you start playing with these tools, again, I mostly would recommend you doing this towards the end of your process. That's why we're in post-production, is that's where you can prompt it to imagine my pores, imagine the detail of my pimply skin or something. That can be in your prompt because it's not in the information. There's nothing to precisely upscale if it can't see it. So again, you're kind of doing the same thing that an image model or a video model is doing, is that it's imagining, it's hallucinating. So this creative upscaling is kind of this new chapter. There's a bunch of little knobs on it. I have to select a video. So like, if I pull this in here, you can see that with using the Magnific one. Oh, there, now Topaz. It's funny, last night it wasn't here. That's so weird. God, these tools are so annoying. Okay, so Topaz is available to you. But Magnific is the one that FreePick is very hopped up on because they have a deal with. But even just using Magnific, you can see that there's presets. So if you're doing a film like Charlie was doing that's more like animation style, you might get better results on the animation in 3D feature. If you're going for more of a kind of gritty realism, you're going to try realism. So I would just play with these. They do take some time and they use some credit. So almost do like little experiments to see what you like before you just sit there and watch pinwheels. As you select these things, You'll see that there are other knobs. There's like, I would just experiment with these. I think there probably is a whole session on obsessing over upscaling, but I would mostly just push this towards the end of your process just to get a final like crispy looking film. There is a notion to image upscaling. You can see that one of the options in here is image upscaler. We haven't spent as much time on this because the thing is Nano Banana Pro like gives you like 4K level outputs if you want them. So it's not as necessary, but if you're ever kind of like generating an image and it's just giving you kind of janky results, like it's hallucinating a lot, one thing worth experimenting with is just sometimes upscaling the image. I wouldn't go nuts because sometimes you get too big and then it's almost too big for the interface. I think like a 2x, let's see, I'll just set an image. Oh, that's a video, hang on. So you can see how like when you go to image upscaling, there's a how big do you really want to go? And you can see like somebody's doing this for like an IMAX screen or something. I would mostly just stick to 2x. Again, there's all these different presets, play with them, dial up these things. Creativity tends to refer to its ability to get extra imaginative. So this knob is generally something that kind of like makes it get weirder or more interesting, depending on if you're doing something very sci-fi and interesting, you may want to experiment with cranking that up at an upscale. It might give you more interesting details of like weird, things that plants do on your planet. All of these, I think, are different things that some expert at Topaz can really walk you through with the fine tune. I would just play with results just until you get something you're happy with, because that's going to go to your video generation. Inside of Topaz, if somebody does download, it might be like $170, and if you're like really pro and really developing this, you will see that some of these things are worth playing with. I have it because I want to at least be able to show it to you. Actually, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I really think the free pick solution is better. If anybody's really interested in Topaz, I can walk you through it. It's something you have to download. It's software on your computer. There is also actually, maybe I can take you to there are like web versions. Let's try this. So there's like Astra, which is more of their like people use this for like documentaries. Like if you have like low res, like grainy footage, like Astra is particularly good at them. There's a lot of details to the upscaling world, and if you spend time on the Topaz site, they can inform you on. I just don't want to get lost today, but I'm just flagging it as a final step to get crispy on your final films. If you want to blow it up big, it'll look nicer. And then also, if you're having trouble with your image to video moments, sometimes upscaling the image gives you a better result. Okay. Anything you would add? I mean, you've been down there. Anything we're missing on post-production that are key fine points?
I don't really think so.
I mean, I'm not an After Effects person, so if anybody needs that, we can try to think about an expert to come in. But like one thing that's worth noting is when you go to like Adobe Creative Suite, am I here? Yeah. So if you guys have like Adobe products, when you go to the apps section here, you see this little lab here, beta? That's where all the good stuff is. So if you go to this, you'll see that pretty much each major tool in Adobe has a beta version, and that's where they're testing stuff out. So anytime there's like a cool new experiment playing with Photoshop, you'll see it here first. So I have a Photoshop beta. I think now they've landed in the main Photoshop and Premiere, but it's worth getting familiar with this. And if you already pay for Photoshop, you get beta. Like it's not like some big add-on. But like, let's see. I just want to show you a couple features in Photoshop. I'll just open this guy up. So let's say we're playing with this. You can select subject really easily now. You see how it just like automatically selects. There's a generative fill feature, which opens up this interface, which is a little bit like a Nano Banana tool. And you'll see that within Photoshop, they have this little tool here. When I click on it, this opens up all the models, which includes Nano Banana Pro, right? It also includes Flux Context, which before Nano Banana Pro, like Flux Context was like the hotness. So it's just another interesting place that if you're a Photoshop person, I would explore this, because this is where you may enjoy this interface. Like you may like your ability to be more precise with lassoing things, but this is the same thing we've been doing in the more limited free pick and kind of Flow and Gemini interfaces. One of the things that's kind of cool, let me see if there's a quick way to mock it up. So let's say I want to add a lamp in the middle of this picture. So I just create a lamp. I'm just going to pull up an image. Let's see this lamp. Okay. So I'm going to grab that picture. I hope I can just copy and paste it and it's quick. So I'm going to go here. Okay, now I have a lamp. Okay. And I really want it to sit in the middle of my picture. So one of the things, and if you've done this on Canva, you can always just like remove background, and all of a sudden it's a clean image, but it still just looks weird, right? So if you look at it, they just added, what just popped up on the screen is this other button, harmonize. So it's a really cool Photoshop feature. So again, we're in kind of like a compositing headspace here. Like this may or may not be the way that you guys compose your images, but if you do want to get at this level of detail and just like the in painting isn't working, and every time you prompt it, it just won't add that lamp in the middle of the street that you really want to put there. So this is like a way that Photoshop has kind of taken its much more fine-tuned environment and applied it here. So I might, for example, make it smaller so it seems to fit. I can do that, but then eventually. The harmonize button, when I click on it, it basically relights it. And you'll see that we'll see how good of a job. It's a bit of an unusual test I'm giving it. But this is this is one of the AI features inside of Photoshop, is that they basically are able to relight and match objects as you place them and composite your screens. I don't know if that's perfect, but you can see what it's trying to do. You can see the lighting is a little bit matchy. So that's one thing that's worth playing with if anybody's really like more of a Photoshop person and they want to think about that level of composing their image. Inside of Premiere, I'll open this up. Where is it? There it is. They've added one feature. I don't actually think it's that great, but you should just be aware of it, that you can extend like in a timeline. Like it's like an AI extend feature. So like if you need a few extra seconds, like it'll just imagine that. I'm gonna see if we can pull it up. But those are just a couple of the highlights. Again, there's a whole Firefly experience. Adobe is, which I hope people don't feel like I'm leaving them out of Adobe as if that's a small company. But like let me see if I just opened this. Oh, I took it away. I think it's just here. Yeah, you see this little button here in your Premiere timeline? You guys see that? If anybody uses Premiere, this might be interesting. But the generative extend tool, I think it's kind of janky, and I wouldn't lean on it. But the whole idea is that you can just pull a shot and make it longer. Which again, if you've generated it inside of Flow, you could have just done that there before you brought it to this stage. So that's like a quick little feature. There's other details like enhanced speech. There's like audio tools. Do you guys know about those kinds of features inside of Premiere and how to like sweeten audio and stuff? Again, that's mostly like your other class probably teach you this stuff. What else? Any other cool AI post-production? Yeah, Jose, you were asking about Quickture. So I know those founders. I actually, it's my very first blog post in the AI space was interviewing the founders, as if anybody cares. But what's interesting, I don't know if it's what you want it to be. Like, what do you think it is? Let me start there.
Well, I'm a producer editor, and right now one of my projects is discuss with the Amazon grants. So I really need a tool to rapidly solve my dailies, because last year I also worked on an Amazon project, and it took me like almost a month just to process all the photos they have.
Okay, so I mean, look, the AI post space is like where there's the most action. It's where the picks and shovels are being made. If you get the reference, you guys get that, picks and shovels? What does that mean when I say they're the picks and shovels? Really, what a bummer. If there's a gold rush happening and everybody is in the mountains looking for gold, those are the crazy people that may or may not get rich. Then there's the smart people selling them picks and shovels, and those people are the ones that actually make all the money. Because it doesn't matter if anybody finds the gold, but somebody bought their pick and shovel. So that's a little gold rush reference. I think this is like a pick and shovel business. That it doesn't matter if generative AI changes Hollywood, but this is a great tool. So basically what it does, and if you're really keen on this, I can say there's a USC student that wants to, maybe they presented to the faculty 2 weeks ago. This basically, like, imagine the way that like Descript and all these other tools are like behaving like transcript tools, that it can just take like your transcript and like AI it, like the way that like you can do that with like a text tool. This is then translating that into video. So that's what you want. Like the idea is like, let's say I just went out and shot an interview. Like I interviewed Jose and you told me about all your magic tricks or whatever you're doing. Like without me having to transcribe it, listen to it, editorially care about it, I can program it to have my criteria of what do I think is interesting inside my film, that I really like jokes. And I think every time Jose is funny, that matters to me. And anytime he talks about his mom, that's really good stuff. Like I can sort of give it some criteria of what good stuff is, and then it'll analyze the text and the script, and it'll basically create like a heat map of all the bytes, right? And then with that, I can basically like say, give me a 5-minute version of this cut down, and it'll just jam out a rough cut. So I think it's actually really good for a lot of people that make the kind of content, like interview content and like stuff that's very linear. I think they're adding, you can see it's get to a rough cut faster. I do think they're trying to get into more visual analysis, which would be like the big leap for them. I just don't think, see like instant summaries, story beats revealed. It's not much of like editing the visuals. It's just editing the copy, which is that what you want it for? Or?
Well, I just to experiment with that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's not like editing visually. Like it's not like finding moments. It's just saying what words were said and were they any good. And you can. What is nice about it is that it's a plugin. It goes right into your Premiere or your Avid. So it isn't like yet another piece of software to learn. It slides right into your workflow. But if that's interesting, it's a quite expensive software because it's for companies. It's like they're basically pitching it to like a reality TV company that's shooting 13 episodes for A&E, and they're like, how can you just do this faster? You know. So it's again, but you go to like NAB or CES, and there's all kinds of companies pitching this kind of stuff. So that's post-production generally. Again, I think you guys know how to edit. If you get really like excited, like there's things like in CapCut, like if anybody's editing on CapCut, they have like an auto edit feature where it just like does stuff for you. I think it's mostly for socials. I don't think you're making movies with this, but you should be aware of it. Go away. I don't want to subscribe for anything. AI Video Maker. Let's see. Is it the auto cuts? It's one of these. You used it before?
I've not.
Yeah, is it AI Video Maker?
Use it to make highlights.
It's great for socials. I mean, it's just what it's for. That's who their customers are. I don't know if you guys really need to learn. I'm just saying you should discover that, and because you can sort of see agentic editing, like the fact that it's just like looking at footage and it whips up a cut. If anybody's seen like Opus Clips, you guys know Opus Clips? Like, Opus Clips is a company that, like, if you're like a big YouTuber or TikTok person, like, and you just like recorded like a whole hour interview, it'll just, knowing the algorithm of TikTok and YouTube, it'll just quickly jam out like all those like quick shorts that people use to like funnel, you know, the content. And it'll just like throw captions on it. It'll throw a little like sting on it. So there's tools like that emerging, which again, I don't know if those are real filmmaking tools, but it's just interesting to start to extrapolate. Well, what does that mean that these tools are doing? It means that they're understanding visual language. I'll pause there. If any, I'm kind of skipping those things because I don't think they're that interesting, but it's worth being aware of. Do we want to kind of start? We can take a break, but I almost want to start seeing things you're working on. But where do we want to go? Do we want to spend more time on some of the tools that we just talked about, or do we want to dive into our workshop? Leon?
I was gonna bring up another question.
Yeah, sure.
Like when we're doing our projects, I seem to find something with the models, and I wonder if there's a chance for us throughout the semester to talk to the designers of those like models, like just to tell them what we expect.
I mean, Google wants your feedback. I'm supposed to send them an update. Can we do that? Like, how are you guys doing on Flow? I'm supposed to send them like a report. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, do we want to talk about it here? I can send like an email, and whoever wants to reply, I'd really appreciate giving me some content for that report. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that'll be homework. Everybody needs to give me feedback on Flow. How's that? That's easy homework, right? That's just like, I hate this. It's free, but it's not that great. Any other responses to the tools or things that were high level or interacting with? Was Kling helpful? Is it good to get access to Kling? Did you guys start to play with that? Yeah. In the back, Colton, did you get to play with it, or what do you like about it? Yeah, I mean, you know, you're not alone, bro. And meanwhile, by the time you get C-Dance, they're gonna cut out all the cool celebrity stuff. My friend who made that Snoop video, like he can't do that stuff on there anymore. He's back to Kling actually to do celebrity stuff.
Is anybody using this?
I mean, you guys seem to, you guys found your Chinese phone numbers or whatever. Are you still using it?
I back to clean.
Okay. Yeah. How come? How come?
Just I noticed the students, you cannot make it to get very accurate but tiny adjustments.
Do you think Kling is more precise?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think in general, CDance made a big splash, but I think Kling is really like they've really obsessed over filmmakers and feedback they've been getting. CDance has got a lot of moxie, but Kling is a better tool.
I think it's more for entertainment. Like if you don't have clear idea for your storyboard, you can use students for fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think it to me, I think it's exciting to think about capabilities.
I think Student is more friendly to laymen, but not to filmmakers.
Which again, you start to think about who are the consumers here, right? So I think it's very powerful, but I think let's see, where's my login?
Kling does a better job in like character consistency.
Oh, really?
But I do observe that I think it's sometimes generating the wrong mistakes on purpose.
Kling is?
Just to burn out. Like,
Ah! It's like a light bulb that breaks too soon. You're like, I got to go buy another one.
sometimes it's like you roll a couple of times that it's doing the wrong things when it got it right up.
I mean, I feel this way about Runway. I hate Runway so much that I don't even understand why they're still relevant. I know that somebody's using them and they're probably have figured out how to skip all my problems, but I was on the phone with a client yesterday and they're doing like historical stuff. Where is it? And like I literally did the like here's 4 models in the exact same prompt. Like look how stupid this is. This is so dumb. And where is it? Videos. So they're doing this like historical website where God, look how stupid this is. So they're doing this historical website where they're trying to take like old footage and create a YouTube channel and bringing it to life or whatever, which is complicated, by the way. There's a lot of ethical reasons, but whatever, it's their problem. So this is Kling, which what it's doing right is at least that still looks like Richard Nixon. They were having a lot of VO 3.1, you're right. So this is doing weird stuff. Like, all right, what is that? Why is the ball moving backwards? And then this one is Runway. Like, why would anybody pay for this? Like how do I feel so robbed every time I get, like, I laugh at it, but if I remember when like Runway was like $20 a pop and I'd get like maybe 20 videos. I'm like, what did I just pay for? Like, this is just garbage. Like, why would you allow that to come out of your machine? So it's not even him. It's like they're all using the same. I think this might be the Kling one. Does that say Kling? Yeah. So this one did okay, and the ball didn't move backwards. And then this one was Grok.
Here we go. Ah, close.
But Grok is madness. Like, and I don't even want to touch it. I just did it because the client wanted to see it. But anyway, like, how did they get away with that? Such garbage. Anyway, but yes, the models deserve feedback. I will get you guys back. Who wants to go first with something they're working on and we're having trouble with? I will just pick on you if you guys don't have. How about you, Lucas?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm working on a couple of things.
Okay.
One more easily mapped onto this class.
Okay. Is
So
it for our midterm though, or is this for? Okay, great.
one is
Does everybody have the Google Meet?
I have it.
You can just
Is
throw it
it
in the
something you
WhatsApp.
want to? Do you want to share on the screen?
Can we see what you're talking about?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just throw it in the WhatsApp or whatever. Cool. Oh yeah, what are you working on?
Sorry, I'm working on 2 things. One thing is AI influencer, but it's not like girls or anything like that. And because I really thought about the marketing of AI, because so there are several self triggers and there's lifestyle.
And someone says, "Oh, I am rich," and then if you do this, you can get rich.
Yeah.
Things like that. And then there's also things like credibility, which is
Trust.
real data.
Yeah.
Like if you buy this product, it's gonna improve your life by how many percent.
Mhm.
And so I feel like for AI, people. So I think long term, it's not wise to make an AI influencer that tries to pretend it is not AI. I think long term people will know. So I think might as well just come out the gate and say this is an AI account, and this is an AI. And so I thought about who would accept AI, who would accept a call to action from an AI.
Like what? Like
Mm,
buy this watch kind of thing, or
yeah, like who, yeah, like call to buy this product or listen to this, things like that. Who would find AI credible, and then what would an AI say that they would accept as credible?
okay. And I love this as an intellectual topic, and I could go nuts on this stuff. But does this apply to your film, or
100%.
okay? So what can you show us what you're working on, or did you get the link? Or?
I sent out the link to everyone.
I think I don't have WhatsApp on my computer.
No, it's in your email.
Oh, it's in your email now. There
Yeah, it's in everyone's email.
Just while we're waiting for that, I mean, for what it's worth, again, I have a whole talking speech on this stuff because I cared a lot about truth and nonfiction and authenticity and how this stuff is changing with these tools. In China, at least one data point is that some equivalent of a shopping network, the human salespeople are not doing as well as the robot salespeople. And by the robots, I mean the fake humans. So I'm saying, like, in that environment of, buy my food processor or whatever it is they're selling, it is more successful as a sales tool. So if the metric is, did somebody buy it, very literally, it's working. Not to be crass, but there's a whole world of AI porn where that somebody is buying it, like somebody is engaging and not turning it off and saying, I'm very happy with the exchange I'm having right now. And I think there is like a spectrum there of like user behaviors and media of like at which point, and I think about that like on the extreme end, there's the Oscar winning performance, that somebody like made me feel something about the human condition the way that art does, right? So I think that there's way over here, which is what everybody's freaking out about with AI influencers, that like, will this ever do that? I don't know, who cares? But I'm just saying that's what's going on over there. But I'm saying on the other end of the experience of just like media, human watching, I want something from this. Do I want to buy that gadget on TikTok? Do I need to buy that present for my child? Do I really care who's communicating that to me, as long as the information seems clickable and then I can go look at the ad? That seems to work. Am I lonely and I need to feel good about myself and watch some porn? That seems to work. Whatever these other consumer experiences are, there's a spectrum there. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there's like how close does it get to being convincing, credible, authentic, trustworthy? And then what's interesting is there's a lot of news TV, that they're even saying to meet our AI news anchor. Like that's even they're not trying to lie to you. They're just saying today it's going to be this wooden person on a TV channel. Which how different is that from the wooden newscaster anyway? They're just reading a teleprompter in the first place. And does somebody miss the feeling that Walter Cronkite gave them? Maybe, but they just need to know where's the bad traffic today, or whatever it is they're watching. You see what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's interesting to like challenge this. If you can mute, that'd be great. So I don't know. That's how I would just, while we're waiting. I'm just killing time right now while we're waiting for you. So, do you want to show us what you're looking at?
Why don't you unshare your screen? For
Oh, sure, yeah. There we
go
you-
for it, Lucas.
You want to share?
Share.
Yeah, you
Share
see,
screen.
you see this guy, this little like screen with an arrow on it. You should have one of those. Yeah, you should have this button.
Yes, I clicked on it and it says.
And then right now you're sharing the whole entire screen, right? Yeah. Okay.
Whoa.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, so this is I designed a couple AI influencers,
Okay.
and I thought the way to avoid Uncanny Valley is to go more animated.
Yeah. No, that's the historical. Yeah.
And yeah, and this is supposed to be kind of
By the way, it looks like you're inside the node system in Kling.
yeah,
Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah. Kling has their own node system as well.
yeah, it's called the canvas.
That's right. Great.
And yeah. So this is Maya,
Mhm.
and also have another character, John. So they are AI influencers, and their character identity is that they have trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
Because they're busy people, and they are white collar, you know, and they maybe already buy some sleep optimization products, and yeah, so they are so we watch their journey. I think we'll probably integrate on social media account like Instagram, and then we'll just watch their journey, try to slowly improve or optimize.
And that's your film.
Yeah, maybe not a film. I think it's gonna be
Is it like an experiment you're conducting?
influencer account.
So you're going to create TikTok accounts for these two people?
Yeah.
You're doing that?
I think so. I think if I go this route, I think
That's super interesting.
there's another. Oh, I also made a couple of.
What kind of content are they making? It's like just day in the life. Like, here's what I'm going through as an influencer. Are you doing it vertical?
Yes, eventually. I think.
So your output isn't going to be like a short film we watch on a screen. It's going to be an account on TikTok.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's having trouble. She's like had a busy day at work.
How long, like, and just as I think about the format of this, like, is this like a minute kind of thing, or like, what are you thinking about?
I think 45 seconds.
Like each of their things.
Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, I think the hard part is not the animation,
Right.
but rather the underlying sleep science. And then that's where my other thing comes in. Because I'm automating, I'm experimenting with what's it called? Open Claw.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
I built a app, not an app, but I'm building this system where you can send a telegram.
Yeah.
Photos of old products because I'm graduating, so I can send it photos of products I want to, like my old stuff I want to sell, and then it posts directly onto eBay, and then there's a system that
Right. So you're using OpenClaw for that.
yeah,
Right.
that looks at you know what this product is and the surge price, and then there's a price determination model, etc. And then I'm using Gemini Vision as its eyes. And so I feel like there's a way to automate, like using this thing to automate the sleep science layer.
And forgive me for missing. What do you mean by the sleep? What is that? How does that apply to your two characters?
So like the talk about, so the influencer account, in order for it to, for the audience to accept its call to action for monetization purposes, it has to establish credibility. Like it can't just talk about sleep generic.
So are they sleep influencers?
Yeah.
So that's that, like, instead of selling you yoga, they're talking about their knowledge of sleep science.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, and then like one on John, Maya, the woman is the way-in character. She's sort of, you know, struggling more, and John might be more, you know, like he knows a little bit more about, you know, sleep. You know, maybe.
And are they like giving tips? Like, is each like TikTok video like a tip?
Yeah, or like little scenario.
Like, wow, I had a tough time sleeping last night, so tonight I'm going to use magnesium.
It's like those like little mini pads that take your nose and it's like a like instead of like conference would be like for sleep for the so
Yeah.
it's like okay.
Yeah, and also every episode should be about one specific pain point and the solve.
And they're like 1 minute episodes.
Yeah, 45 cents, something like that.
So for your midterm film, is it going to be one of these? Or are you going to see each character doing one of their things?
Yeah, every episode, both characters will appear in both episodes.
Just thinking ahead, like let's pretend this was a baby step to your final film. Like if your final film was like a complete TikTok account with like however many videos you want to tell OpenClaw to make, or that's super interesting.
Yeah.
I think I love that. And I'm not trying to encourage anybody to do anything I'm just saying that is the type of like, I wonder what else we can do here. Instinct that again, if maybe influencer content is interesting, but you're experimenting with the edges of it. And you're just, whether that's something you want to make money off of with sleep science or not, I think that's super interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.
So do you want to use OpenClaw to help do the research and then create the structures for the videos?
Yeah, because and so I want to create basically like a science layer that is very robust because I'm not an expert in sleep. I know a lot about it, but then I'm not like a world-class expert. So I wonder if there's a way to, have a smarter version of like a sleep consultant who, reviews all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're in a health space, and I would encourage you to have some layer of ethics and morality while you tell people to take advice on what to do with their bodies. But that just might be a transparency layer that your information has, that if you want to learn more, go to this NIH website that maybe OpenClaw is sourcing its recommendations from. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying like it is a health thing, and I'm just gonna say you don't want somebody to say I died because I watched your weird like AI video, and even if they can't sue you, you might feel bad about that. I don't know. Like, but I'm saying and I think this is almost a documentary mindset. This is like all the nonfiction AI stuff, is that I think transparency is a big layer. So go crazy, do something really imaginative and innovative, but the moment you're dealing with truth that you're expecting your consumer to interact with, because this is a real watch that I'm selling you, they'll know it's fake when it doesn't show up, for example. But in this case, if that sleep advice is bullshit, then that compromises your views. But also it might be more interesting, even if it is legitimate, because you've pulled this from the leading edge of the NIH Sleep Institute or whatever it is they're studying. Put that in the comments. Like make sure that part of your delivery is that like, and if you'd like to learn more, go here kind of thing. And I think that makes it a more meaty, valuable thing. If you care, I don't know. I mean, this is also just film school and do whatever you want. I'm just saying, like, to me, the value of that is the complete thinking on how do all these tools deliver a better consumer experience in this case.
100%. Yeah, I feel like just marketing wise, because this is relying on credibility solely as a buy trigger.
Yeah.
So I feel like the credibility, the actual improvement that it gives people, provides people.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, people are also buying a lot of bullshit on the internet. I'm just saying, like, as someone purveying on the internet, I would be a more leaned in customer if you told me about the ingredients inside your milkshake. Just to throw out a dumb reference. I want to keep going. I think this is super cool. If you want to do an office hours and dig in, I'll be doing more learning from you, because I think the way you've now brought OpenClaw into this class is exactly where I hope the back half of our class starts to wonder about, because it is the advanced state. So good job. Stephen in the back, I'm just going to pick on people today. Do you have anything you want to share? Something you're working on? And or you're also, if you want to, you don't have to.
Yeah, I'm good.
You think you're good? Okay. All right. Hidea, just because you just joined us, do you have something from the film you're working on that you want to share, like maybe an issue you're having with the generation, or maybe think out loud, the creative? Is there anything? Yeah, you're feeling good.
Trying to figure out like what my workflow.
Yeah. Anything you want to talk about, of like questions you're having? Because if you're having them, probably somebody else is having them. Any things you're glitching on flow, or?
I think I'm just I'll try different ways. Like trying to get the audio with prefix. So I'm getting it to like taking the sound and just getting like the mouth and stuff to cooperate the vocals. So I think I just need to try maybe on Flow and see if that.
Okay.
works at all.
Okay. Remember, Kling has got that ability to clone a voice.
Yeah.
And tag that in. Cool. Okay. All right. Well, to the free form session today, guys. We're just trying to see where everybody's at. What about you, Jose? Anything in your film that you want to?
Yeah, I can start at the top level. Just I'm the one who likes to push systems to the limits.
Please.
Stuff.
Please, yeah.
And something I realized I've mostly been working at Gemini is that the longer a chat goes, the more it forgets. Like it has
Yeah. Context window sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. And just
Which, by the way, always make sure you're in Pro. Are you in Pro?
yeah.
Yeah. Good.
It's just in general, like I like to have long chats and then eventually start cross-referencing different things. So
So just that recommendation, guys. Like you don't have to pay for this. This is your free. Just use Pro. It might take longer, and you might be trying to move faster. In which case, stick to fast. But I'm saying if you're trying to get the best results, like don't worry about credit consumption. Like use the Pro setting, especially for Nano Banana Pro. If you're using this to create imagery, the Pro setting, it gives you the ability to. Like I've had problems when I'm just in the fast one that if I just want. Like give me 16:9, and it's like no, I won't. In Pro you'll get better results. Sorry, go ahead, Jose.
yeah, so the workflow I found that is to just have a project Bible outside of any AI chat.
Mm-hmm.
Keep just documents everything as everything. Ask for summaries at the end of each chat session. Just make sure all your work is actually preserved. So if you need to like start cleaning again, you can just load everything back.
I think you might like Claude.
I just started Claude in the very
So Claude.
I've got to get around memory issues. So
Well, no, there's like entire websites devoted to like how do you bring over all your memory from other stuff. But the thing about Claude that they on a coding level, they've solved what you're doing is that because these chats go on forever, it sort of instinctively hits a point where it compacts itself.
Right.
It's like, oh, we got too much going on here, and it just like it creates a little like compact summary so that you can stay in the chat. It's pretty smart. Claude's great. That's really smart, and that's an interesting practice to share. That almost like if you are in a really useful chat, again, I would encourage if you're using ChatGPT to use that project system because that's another way of just keeping all your multiple chats in one context. If one conversation gets long, but it's an interesting idea of almost creating like a library of summaries, so you can always keep an active dialogue. Any other observations or things you're glitching with, or?
yeah, just as I'm integrating over to Flow, I feel like it's a little frustrating because I'm getting what I want most of the time, but it is usually only happens when I'm extending shots. Is it just starts hallucinating? It changes the physiology of my characters, and I get really upset with it. But overall, I am liking Flow. I think it works well. I think it just hallucinates too much.
Yeah, they took away something that it wasn't a perfect tool. I think at the beginning of this, did you guys see that scene builder thing? They took it away, which I don't know. I kind of liked it. But I get that it's kind of a useless tool. But like, I think the extend thing is kind of cool. Like let's see, it's an interesting like improv model. Is it this one? The internet's not so great. I've just been playing with it. Like it's almost like an interesting way to like start with an idea and just keep adding on to it of like, then this happens and that happens and like the shot never ends. I can't find I finally got my Flow to work. I think I told you that they kept canceling me because I've gotten too much free shit from Google. But every time I would start a class like with you guys, like Google would just be like, no, you pay us $250. So I'm like, imagine me. I'm like, I have this like great relationship with these like interesting people at Google. I'm like, excuse me, can I get a refund? And no, sorry, your customer service said to talk to you. Really? Okay, I'll send you the receipt. Like, I'm like, is this really the best use of my relationship? I finally got to figure it out. Anyway, okay. Any other observations from Flow, Jose? Or?
That's it for now. I found where to access the timeline again, but it's useless now. It's called Flow, but I feel like it no longer really flows. You have to go back to the.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're playing. Look, I don't know if they'll ever become the destination to make stuff. I like seeing Google level brains think about this stuff. It's hard not to see how FreePick just has like pick of the litter to create whatever because they have all the tools. But it's interesting. I mean, again, it's free, so just use it. By the way, have you guys played with Flow TV? This is really useful. Actually, I wish I brought this up. I'm surprised they didn't bring it up. This is really great. So this is their, like, call it a TV channel, but most importantly, all the prompts are here. So like, if you see anything that you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, how'd they do that? Literally just copy the prompt. And that's their whole point. They created this as a teaching tool. So like, if you go to all channels, Like some of these are really interesting. So like here's like this dough motion channel, this action figures channel. It's a little bit like that Mid-Journey style references place. But like I remember like one of these is like really cool. It's like weird like musical instruments. Where is it? Extreme sports, balancing act, Boomtown. I don't know, but you can maybe it's this one. Yeah, it's majorly scaled. Yeah, so these are like all these like strange instruments, right? So you can like here's all these different like strange like it's really cool to see the creativity. And then like then when you click on it, you can just borrow that prompt and then just start making your own version of it. So if you get inspired by stuff in here, smart way to like chase inspiration inside of Flow. Like you don't have to go through that style training journey of grabbing something off of Mid-Journey and stuff. Anyway, I just think it's a cool like little like I don't think they make enough noise off of it. If nothing else, it's just good for inspiration. But I don't know. I think it's cool. What about you, Colton? What's going on? Any adventures in?
I'm mostly interested in animation
Okay.
because I have a lot of friends that are animators and also like that's kind of where I want to work.
I mean, that's where there's the most like less or the least controversy of where the jobs are showing up.
Yeah, they are not. There's this. I mean, this animation like old animation called Slam Dunk, and they did a kind of make of it.
Sorry, animators are very unhappy about it, but the businesses are starting, is what I meant to say. Is that there's work, is what I meant to say. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like came out like 5 or 6 years ago, and everybody was hating on the style of it. It's like because they said it looked like
You could share your screen.
Oh, sorry.
Slam Dunk.
Oh, in the Google Meet.
Slam Dunk anime.
Where did my Google Meet go?
It's very what's it called?
So you're saying that's a style you want to emulate?
Yeah, that's because it's like then I feel like
Slam Dunk. Let's pull it up. Slam Dunk animation. Oh, there it is. Anime. This. Netflix or?
I think it's in that one, the 2022 film, the first Slam Dunk.
This one?
Yeah, it's called no, not that one. It's if you go to images, there might be a newer. Yeah, it's like see that one. When it came out, people said it looked like AI.
So you want to make something like this?
I do want to make some kind of style. So
Let's troubleshoot that. How would you do that?
well, I've been trying to. I mean, at least just starting off, I've been like putting environments like just kind of screen grabbing from that, and then like, hey, I want this sort of style, and make it like into a park or make it into like a.
So what I would do is I would grab as many of these images as possible that are like this is the style, this is the aesthetic. I would go in, I would load them up in Gemini as references and say, give me the text prompt, give me the JSON prompt, and then that will be your text inside of anything you do from there on. You could try going into Mid-Journey and you doing a mood board, and then that's your starting storyboard process, where then within Mid-Journey you create that style reference. But again, pull all the images. I mean, it's kind of shady. I don't know, maybe, but I'm saying this is the way to achieve what you're trying to do. I think the text prompt version feels a little bit less shady because you're at least starting with 0, like it's just digits instead of just feeding the image into the model. But you could ask the LLM, how would I do this? Tell me the text prompt that lets me do this. And then you are arguably generating it from scratch. So in some like copyright journey, if you guys want to spend time learning about the latest in copyright, there is a lot of feelings about whether or not you guys are basically chimpanzees taking pictures, which is like the idea that can't be copyrightable. Only humans can make things. Like if a raccoon picks up a camera and takes a picture, that raccoon is not a copyright holder. So the idea that you're, as much as possible, generating something from scratch that creates your copyright narrative in the US Copyright Office. all of it's, talk to your attorney. But one thing that's might be an interesting, this is a studio that some people like a lot. They're based in LA, called Asteria. There's a whole lot to learn about them because they've created they have their own image model called Moon Valley. There's a reason I don't bring it up here is because I don't think it's good enough. I don't personally think it's a high quality enough compared to Gemini or Kling, but it is clean. It is ethically cleansed. It is that is their entire business position, is that they have only built an image model off of only licensed content. But I don't know anybody that really uses it. I mean, they get a lot of studio work. But I'm showing you this because they do have some of the best people in their studio, and they do a lot of incredible studio work. This is like an animation workflow. Worth seeing. So I'm sharing this because these principles are repeatable elsewhere, but just this type of thinking, again, there's a bit of a copyright narrative in that they're working with the original artist. It's his art with his permission became the LoRa. It became the style reference that then became the data tool that every time they even drew a picture of a chicken, that chicken would look like his style, his aesthetic. Those 3D references are really interesting. That I think I'm going to try to get us some space in the next few weeks to play with the 3D options. That it might get us to play with Kriya because they have more 3D stuff. But this is, I mean, we can keep watching this, but since you're talking about animation, I do think this is a really great BTS. Do you use the WhatsApp?
Yeah.
I'm just going to drop this in the WhatsApp, but I would watch it again. Some of it is like way out of school because it's using their tool. But some of it's like they have a whole studio of like a lot of resources, but the principles are very repeatable and they may inform the way you explore the tools you have access to. Yeah, it's a really great case study. And Paul Trillo, if you don't follow him, is one of the best artists. Like the fact that that Asteria has him and a few other, like they have an incredible team. They also have a lot of VC money, so it's easy to spend VC money. I'm happy for the people receiving that VC money. But yeah, animation's a whole category, and I'd say it isn't where I'm gonna, unless all of a sudden everybody wants to make animated movies, but I'm kind of generalizing these different opportunities. I'd say as an individual, if you're very passionate about AI animation, and again, I'm not shilling this to you guys. I don't really care if you do it or not, but Curious Refuge is the other place I teach. That's where I started teaching their AI for Docs classes. They do have an AI animation like a course, and I mean, I think this might be like $700 like for a year. So it's a pretty good value. And it's like 4 modules. All of these things are the same thing. They're just like modules that you go as you go. There's no deadlines. This shouldn't stress you out as existing students. But it's just hyper focused on all the techniques for animation. So if anybody's really passionate about animation, there's other resources online for free. I'm just saying this is a good one in terms of the team behind it and stuff. I would take a look at it. Whether you use it for this class or not, I'm just saying as you explore individually. Leon, what about you? What's going on in your world? Any puzzles, questions, feelings?
Struggling with the first thing being that, it does, okay. I think in an AI world, it's very hard to understand a trucking shot. So, I think it involves like re-establishing the spatial, relations. So I think whenever I've tried to get a trucking shot, it would actually give me a truck or
We'll say tracking shot instead of trucking shot.
I think like a parallel to the set.
As opposed to what? What is your tracking shot?
So when we say tracking, it can be like frontal track, backward track, or whatever. But
Uh-huh.
whenever we say trucking, it should be like just like parallel to it, left to right or right to left.
Okay.
And it would always do a rotation, like some type of rotation.
Mhm.
Panel.
Do we want to bring it up and give it a try? Because this is the kind of thing that we just have to throw different tactics at it. Because there's a lot of different ways to achieve what you're trying to do.
Okay, so I was consulting the LLMs.
Great. Good start.
As we were discussing it, I learned that for the models, like whenever you tell it to do a trucking shot, it's like it doesn't really understand the 3D dimension of it. You have to tell it what's brushing the camera, like what's brushing through, what is in the front, and what is actually doing it. But I think like perspective wise, it's still like not really getting it right. So I do have the workflow here.
Okay.
Like
A good job that you're starting to use the LLM. Which LLM? Do you have a specific prompt generator, GPT, or are you just talking to it?
and ChatGPT, I do have like a project inside of it where I just it's all about
Which is probably good enough. But again, this first stop on that journey is if you're using the LLM as it's probably going to be fine. I'm just making sure, like, what are the screws you can tighten? Hang on. Here we go. Just make sure you're using, like, here's VO3 JSON prompt generator. Like, that's a GPT that I found in their GPT store. This may or may not be the best one, but go to explore GPTs. This is for flow, right?
and for clean.
So each one, again, the people I know, they have a separate GPT for each model. So like if you want a Kling prompt generator,
To be honest, I can't really access it with my GPT account because USC account bans some of the GPTs.
okay, maybe just set up a free account and then just grab a link to it. Or-
Account doesn't allow that.
Oh. Okay, well, for anybody that can, I would just say if you're using your GPT, like you're going to get a little bit better results. Like, here's this one that's just Kling. It's just exclusively Kling. So in some context universe, they've created a better Kling generator. So I'm just saying, if you're going to use the LLM, you do have a way to kind of ideally get slightly more optimal results. But then, I mean, obviously start and end frame is your friend here. The one thing that we didn't talk about enough when we do start and end frame, one thing that's underutilized is end frame. Is actually not doing a start frame, but doing an end frame. So one idea that might be worth playing with is that when you go to, instead of putting a start frame, actually tell us where that shot's going to end.
I tried that.
With no start frame. You tried that as well? Okay.
And the start of it just got really out of this place. Like it's because it has to imagine something. I think that's what's called when you give it a frame and when you give it the notion for the camera to move around the place but not rotating, actually goes from one place to another one. It has to like reimagine what's there. And it doesn't have anything to pull from because I don't have a way to tell it what it is. For me to
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Your questions always come from a place of wanting precision. And
precision, like,
well, there's something you want that you're not getting.
I want continuity. That's what I want. And continuity is like if it doesn't really understand the 3D dimension of the space, it's very hard to get the continuity from one shot to another, especially with the camera movement.
So let's see if let's try to map this out. So I'm just going to create some weird cowboy walking through an old Western town. So presumably you just want the camera to go alongside him from here to there, right?
Yeah, and keep the set, like whatever appears.
Okay. All right. So let's see. We're going to use this for video. Wait. Still haven't gotten used to this new setup. How do I switch to video?
You need to bring it into its own video.
Yeah, I just need to start over, right?
Yeah.
So video frames, we're going to drag. Let's do him in. Actually, I'm going to try my end frame. And I'm going to say, I'm just trying where you've probably already been. Camera tracks. Funny, I would say track. I'm curious if I do it my way, if it works. I understand that in film land, you're right.
I set like horizontally tracking the subject, but I also need to. So eventually, I resorted to a pretty non-cinematic kind of communication, like saying it's parallel to the space. Let me read the prompt.
No, it's not letting me do end frame.
Yeah, it never is.
I thought they added that as a feature. Luma has it.
From the start frame to end frame. That's what I.
Sorry, I thought they had it. Luma has it that you can do it as end frame, and you're telling it where to end a shot. But I thought Flow had added that. They mentioned it in a video that they had it, but I guess it's not up. That you can do end frame.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start here. This is what I would do if I'm. Let's see if it works. We can do this in free pick as well. Download. I'll just create a new one. Image gen. While we're doing this, who has got like burning priorities today? Who else has like problems they're trying to solve? I just want to make sure we get to everybody. Say again?
We should take 5. We're at 11.
Okay. Who else like definitely wants to present like stuff they're working on today? We were kind of making our way through the class, but Samuel, anything you want to share today?
I don't know if I missed it. Did you guys go over spaces?
Charlie did present. It is recorded. It is recorded, but we can go back to it if we want to spend time with it. Thank you, Lucas. Friend next to Lucas, I'm so sorry that I haven't remembered your name. I haven't spoken to you enough. That's my problem. Yifei, of course. All right, sorry, apologies. He does attendance and I blank out. I should pay more attention. I'm sorry. But then we talk to each other and it gets even better. Yifei, did you want to make sure to share something today?
Yes, but I only have my iPad.
I mean, but you can share on the Google Meet. So I just want to make sure we get to everybody. Louis, Stephen, anything, Anish, or do you guys have stuff to share today? Okay. Does everybody want a 5-minute break or do we want to keep going? Do you guys who wants a break? Yeah. All right. Go ahead and take a break. I'm going to try to play with what you're doing while we're doing that. We'll be back in 5.
We'll come back at 11:05.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I have some problems in giving prompts to generate a drone POV.
And then also
Drone POV. That should be easier.
Exactly
That's interesting. Drones are usually pretty easy. That's
like
interesting.
aerial shot or whatever. I mean, I think whenever I'm in flow, the model doesn't really understand on the same notion of the